matrimonial websites here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? You got a few of them, right? So, subhanAllah. So you go to some of the matrimonial websites, not that I've ever been, but you go to a matrimonial website and it'll say, looking for a 28-year-old dermatologist from Hyderabad, who's, subhanAllah, it's like all kinds of crazy expectations from one another, right? And then you'll have a person who's posing in their profile picture, in a way that's completely indecent, and says, I'm just looking for a good religious spouse. So subhanAllah, even the concept of looking for a person for the sake of their faith is completely lost. It's like we don't really understand what that means anymore. Now, we go to the Prophet ﷺ and the recommendations that he gave. And there's a lot of hikmah in this. There's so much wisdom in what the Prophet ﷺ said to look for. Because on one hand, yes, faith is the basis. But the Prophet ﷺ mentioned another intangible thing which is so important. And what was that? That we should look for in a spouse. What else? Deen and what else? Faith and what else? This is a problem. Are you all married already? What do you look for? إِذَا أَتَاكَ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ. If someone comes to you whose religion is pleasing to you and whose character is pleasing to you. And in fact, in some narrations, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَتَاكَ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ خُلُقَهُ وَدِينَهُ. SubhanAllah. If someone comes to you whose character and religion is pleasing to you. And what exactly is khuluq? See, we understand the deen part. Or we somewhat understand the deen part. When we talk about character, we're usually completely lost. What does character mean exactly? Does character mean that it's a comedian? Does character mean that it's a nice person? Does character mean that they're up for a Nobel Peace Prize or something like that? What exactly does character describe? Who can give me the definition of khuluq, brothers or sisters, from an Islamic perspective? Let's get interactive from now, inshallah, if you don't mind. Who can give me the definition of khuluq? What is khuluq? What is character? Nobody? You understand my American? Play it. I'll explain what khuluq is then. Who can then tell me a dua that we make that includes the word of khuluq? I'll give you the first part of dua. Allahumma kama ahsanta khalqi, ahsin khuluqi. Oh Allah, just as you have beautified my khalq, my outward appearance, and of course there's a weaker narration, but some of the ulama still recommend this, which is you say this when you're standing in front of the mirror. Right? So you're seeing the khalq, you see the creation, you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you limbs and He gave you a sense of beauty, and you say, oh Allah, as you have perfected my creation, perfect my khuluq. Right? And khuluq in the Arabic language, and what we can take from this dua, when you say Allahumma kama ahsanta khalqi, you say, oh Allah, as you have beautified my external appearance, beautify my inside. So khuluq literally is your inner beauty. SubhanAllah. How can you tell though if a person has inner beauty or not? Now we're talking about something that's impossible. How can you analyze a person's khuluq? You can analyze their deen, right? By how serious they are and SubhanAllah, there's ways to analyze their deen. But how do you analyze their khuluq? And we go to a very, very important hadith because we're going to break away from marriage for a second. So guys, don't fall asleep on me. We're going to break away from marriage for a second. We're going to talk about the concept of khuluq because I feel like this is very important to understanding what you look for in a spouse. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, when he was describing a woman, or when a woman that was described to the Prophet ﷺ, that prayed all of her salawat, that fasted, that was observing all of the outward rituals of deen, but she was abusive to her neighbors. The Sahaba came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, what happened to this woman? Her deen was on par. She had everything that she was supposed to do from a deen perspective, but she was a very abusive neighbor. She abused everyone around her. Right? None of her neighbors liked her. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? You guys have to wake up, or else I'm going to make you do push-ups. That's how we do things in Louisiana. What did the Prophet ﷺ say about that woman? Anyone know? Paradise? Hellfire? He said that she was in hellfire. But not only that, the Prophet ﷺ said something very interesting. Rasulullah ﷺ said, لا خير فيها هي في النار. She is completely deprived of good on the inside, and she is in hellfire. There is no good inside of her. Meaning, if the deen did not translate into inner beauty, and if the inner beauty did not translate into good behavior and good character and good actions, then the deen was just a front. All that was not real. All that was superficial. All that was just a cover-up. All that was just putting a pretty face to a very ugly relationship with their Creator. Right? Because that did not manifest itself, it did not penetrate the inside. And an obvious indication that it did not penetrate the inside is that they were not observing good character and good manners on the outside. Yes, it is the same thing. Yes, there are ways to tell that a person is ugly on the inside. But at the end of the day, we don't make a judgment about that person's heart or their level of iman. No. But there are ways to analyze the inner character of a person, the inner image of a person. And the proof of that also is that the Prophet ﷺ describes to us a person who comes on the Day of Judgment. He comes with his salah, he comes with his hajj, he comes with his zakah, he comes with his siyam, and he comes to the mizan and he comes to the scale. And in the mizan, what's weighed? What's weighed in the mizan, the scale on the Day of Judgment? Your deeds and what else? The book of deeds, what else? You yourself will be weighed on the Day of Judgment. That doesn't mean that if you weigh a lot in terms of physical mass, that you... No, because the Prophet ﷺ said, يَأْتِ الرَّجُلُ السَّمِينَ. You know, al-azim, a huge person would come on the Day of Judgment. Someone who's big, you know, huge. فَلَا يَزِنُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ جَنَاحَ بَعُوضَةٍ. But he does not weigh in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the wing of a mosquito. Whereas when the Prophet ﷺ was describing Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu was a dwarf. I mean, in the physical sense, was a very, very small person. Extremely small, unusually small. And one time, as he was picking a siwak from the tree, from the arak tree, the wind blew him up, subhanAllah, into the tree. That's how small he was. And his legs were exposed, and the Sahaba started to laugh at his legs. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "What are you laughing about? What's so funny?" They said, "Ya Rasulullah, look at his legs, they're so small." That's what we're laughing at. The Prophet ﷺ said, "You're laughing. But these two legs on the Day of Judgment, each one of them will weigh the weight of Mount Uhud." SubhanAllah. So the scale of Allah on the Day of Judgment is different from the scale in this life. Thank God, right? It's different. But you yourself will be placed in the mizan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will weigh the good of you. SubhanAllah. Meaning Allah will weigh what? Your khuluq. Your khuluq. Allah will weigh your character. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will weigh it. And so this person, the Prophet ﷺ says, he comes on the Day of Judgment. He has all of the outward actions and manifestations of deen. وَلَكِنْ سَبَّ هَذَا وَضَرَبَ هَذَا وَشَتَمَ هَذَا وَاغْتَابَ هَذَا. He slandered this person. He hit this person. You know, he was rude to this person. SubhanAllah. He backbited this person. So what happens? All of those people then come, and the only currency that exists on the Day of Judgment is what? Your deeds. So he's giving his good deeds to that person. So those people that he harmed, because of his bad character, they're coming and they're taking all of his good deeds until he runs out of everything. All of his good deeds, and the only thing left are his sins. And so he has nothing left to give, right? And so the people that he hurt would come to him and they would start giving their sins to him. They'd start putting their sins on him. Look at the situation of this person. This is who the person Rasulullah ﷺ called on the Day of Judgment is muflis, al-muflis, atadruna man al-muflis. Do you know who the bankrupt person is? A person who's completely bankrupt. Now all of this tells us something very important. That whenever we look for a spouse, when we look for deen, that does not necessarily mean I look for the one who memorizes the most Quran.